It is a gorgeous Saturday morning here on Colin, but not only that, it is 9 o'clock. The sun's up. It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo, 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 woo. Oh, doesn't the sun just cheer you up? As does some new arrivals at Monster Magic. So let me just run through some of the things that have excited me, I suppose. And first up, we have Black Pearl by Victor Zatko and Gentleman's Magic. Actually, the Zatko family. This is a really, really nice EDC that I think has been greatly overlooked. The basic idea is that you show your participant that you are wearing a rather fetching bead bracelet, and you ask them to name any number between 1 and 20. You then point out that one of the beads is white whilst all the others are black. You take off the bracelet, and regardless of which number they've said, the white bead is at the corresponding number. Now, I have to admit, I was a little underwhelmed when I first saw this. I think because I knew the method, and it's very, very hard, especially as a magician, when you know the method, to really sort of enjoy the effects and get the impact of it. And so I kind of dismissed it. And then I got some in on a bit of a whim, really on the trusting that if Gentleman's Magic are putting it out there must be something in it. And now I've got it, my mind has swayed quite a lot. There's a lot of good reasons to be doing this trick, not least the quality of it. So it actually comes in what I consider to be a pretty good jewellery case, and here is the bracelet. It is particularly long at the moment, and that is because you're going to have to remove some beads for it to actually fit your wrist. And so that means you've got some spare beads should you lose them or some get damaged or anything like that. But really, you're not going to need them, I don't think, but you keep them safe in the box. You also get a white and a gold. That is because you can use either colour if you like what to stand out. As Victor points out, he normally wears it casually. He'll use the white one. If he's doing a gig, he'll use the gold one because he thinks it looks slightly more professional. I've always kind of wanted a beaded bracelet as well, you know, sort of the idea that I might have been to Goa and hung out and been quite cool in my past. So it does look quite nice on the wrist. They make a big thing about it fitting in with any dress code and so on, and I guess that is true, but I don't think it's that important. What has impressed me, though, is the quality of this. A casual handling by a participant would be absolutely fine. You can't really do that, though, because just of the routine doesn't really work that way. But it is really, really well made. You can handle it very freely, and there's really nothing to hint of how it works. And the actual weight of it as well convinces you that you're probably wearing a nice bit of jewellery. And then you've got the tutorial itself, which is by Victor. He talks a little bit about how this idea came about and about his family, and the fact that his family are actually jewellers, so they really helped him with it, and that's quite nice and charming. And then he runs through the method, and the method is probably what you'd expect. There is something else out there, similar method to this, a different routine, but a similar method. But there are some really, really nice touches, and one of those convincers is that, say your participant in this case has said 6, you can count up to 6. That is where the white ball is, but you can clearly see the clasp. You can clearly see that that is where the bracelet opens, and I think that is a really, really nice touch. It psychologically, I think that is a really good convincer. Victor runs through the handling in great detail, lots of nice close-ups, lots of nice tips of how to get it exactly right. He doesn't run through every number that can be called because that would take forever, but he runs through, you can get a perfect hit, you've got a couple of chances of getting the perfect hit, in which case you've got to do nothing, or it can be, you know, there is some a little bit of mischief that you need to get up to. But that bit of naughtiness is really, really well hidden under the natural action of opening the clasp, basically. And then there's a little bit of choreography that he goes through just to make sure that they can see that the clasp is at the end and you're holding it as clearly as possible. And that's really nice. It all looks wonderfully natural and very, very fooling, to be honest, to a layperson. It did take me a little while to sort of get round the fiddliness of it a little bit, and also be confident that I'm hitting the right mark every time. But really, it's more of a knack. And actually, you don't have to be that smooth. If you ever see me trying to put on a pair of cufflinks, you'll know that you know, I find that quite difficult. Undoing a clasp on a bracelet in a way is no different. You don't want it to take too long, obviously, but you know, a little bit of a fumble whilst you're opening it is almost better to make it feel like you are actually struggling a little bit to get it undone. There's also a bonus handling by Jordan Victoria, which is slightly different. Obviously, the method's the same, and that does have a couple of advantages, but personally I would stick with Victor's. And then there's a lengthy bit about the care and the maintenance of it. Really, that just comes from Victor's passion for jewellery, I think, coming from a jewellery family, because really there's nothing to it apart from losing a bead or two. It's virtually bulletproof. There's nothing to be concerned about. What this effect does need, though, is a bit of dressing up. Victor does show his presentation, what he says, you get the whole thing, and that's quite important because you really want to give this a hook. You want to give it a nice premise. He uses the idea of mentalism and how mentalists can tell things about how you're wearing. I would stay away from making it too much magic. I would say everyone's intuitive. Everyone picks up on things that people wear, how they look, how they do their hair. Point out your bracelet, say that says something about you, then ask them for number, and that way it really puts it in their mind. It doesn't make them feel they've got magical powers, but they just believe that they've got this intuition, this sort of sixth sense, and I think that makes it really quite strong. It is also, I think, a nice angle to come from, especially if you're doing it as a casual performance, because for me this is an everyday carry. This is just something to wear all of the time, and if put on a spot, you can just go straight into it. It obviously takes up no pocket space because you're wearing it, and so I'm not sure I would particularly do it as a paid performer, but I would just wear it normally and just hope that someone asks me to show them something. It is easy to do with a little bit of practice. All the actions are nicely motivated. It looks nice on the wrist. It's extremely well made, which might explain the price, but the strength of the effect really lies in how good your presentation is. That is Black Pearl by Victor Zatko and his family, $69.99. Next up, it's Blank Vision by Giovanni Cricchio. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Apologies, Giovanni, if I've butchered that. I did my best. This is well, Giovanni's take on a drawing duplication. You show that you have a deck of cards that are blank on both sides, and you have your participant take one of those cards and draw any picture or write any word that they like on them. They can just put back into the middle of the deck. You then take a card and you stare into their eyes, and you then draw a picture, and lo and behold, the pictures match. Yes, it's a really straightforward, very direct drawing duplication trick, which has a lot going for it. Not least, all of the usual methods that you might expect aren't there. It actually takes methods that are normally used in card tricks, I suppose, or gimmicks that are used in card tricks, and has enabled you to do this drawing duplication. And that means there's no visible gaps in the deck. The deck can be handled by the participant. It can be so freely shown. There aren't any holes, let's put it that way. I'm not going to run through and try and eliminate every method possible. in fact, that the deck is actually a normal deck is the fact because you've got to supply your own. Surprisingly enough, they haven't squeezed one in there, so you will need to get your own blank deck, or if you get it from Monster Magic and I'm feeling in a good mood, you might get a complimentary one thrown in. Let me show you what you do get in here. You basically get this wallet, and you get the gimmicked cards, and they are just blanked, gimmicked, poker size cards. There's really not much more I can show you, but rest assured, these do 99% of the work for you. It is almost sleight of hand free, and in fact there isn't really a sleight. There's a move or a bluff perhaps, and that is it. You do get a nice full peek of the entire card, so you don't have to worry about them not getting it in the middle or anything like that. And you know, with a bit of presentation, actually you can stare at it for as long as you like. So if they've drawn something ridiculously complicated, you can take your time and make sure you've got all of the details. And then there's all of the nice little convincers, and the one I particularly like is at the end, once you've done your drawing duplication, you've put that to one side, you get to go through the middle of the deck to find their card, which is clearly still in the middle, and then seemingly take that out, so you can show them together, and that makes it look like it was absolutely impossible for you to see what they had drawn. Really, all you need to add to this is a little bit of acting. There is a little bit of a bluff involved, and there is the idea of reading someone's mind. That is the bit that I think some people lose. You know, they've really got to pretend that you are staring into someone's inner soul. And Mark uses a miscall as well, which adds a little bit of drama. I like that miscall. It's up to you. It probably depends more on your performance style and your character than anything else. And the reset is virtually non-existent. You simply just sort of put it all back in the box, as it were, and you're good to go for the next one. It's great. It's great from that point of view. All I will say is it feels very much like a card trick, the way Mark performs it and Giovanni performs it. It does feel very much a mixture of a card trick and some mentalism, and I've got no problem with that really, apart from it's nice if you're going to do something that isn't a find a card to get away from the idea of playing cards completely and make it into something fresh, just to give the audience something different. So I would really base this down to mentalism, and that the secret to doing that is to not to mention that they're playing cards, call them billets if you like, even mention mentalism, mentalists call them billets. To me, they're just pieces of paper. Show that they're blank on both sides, but don't have them, Mark has them choose a blank card, you know, in a nice little fan, as if he's doing the classic force. There's no need for that. You've just casually showed that they're blank. Hang on. So when Mark shows the deck is solid and double blank on both sides, he hands it very much like I would just pick some up and do that. That's fine for me. It's less handed like the card, and also he has them choose a card. It's irrelevant which card they pick. You've just shown that they're all exactly the same and they're blank. So just hand them the top card if you want. They might change the setup a little bit, but just hand them the top card, and then you're fine. And maybe don't take them out of a card box, just have them wrapped with an elastic band or something like that. And that way, I think it will feel much more like you're doing a bit of mind reading as opposed to a card trick. It's easy, it's clean, it's fooling, and it's powerful stuff. That is Blank Vision by Giovanni Cricchio, $25.99. And now, before I forget, yes, it's time for the Walk of Wishes. Here we go. Let me channel my... Oh, yes, here we go. And this was the competition to win, what was it? Air Stop and... was it one card as well? Gosh, that was very generous of me, wasn't it? There we go. And just... you're all in there, I promise. And the winner is... Will I need my glasses? No, I won't. It is Derek Scott. Derek Scott, congratulations. You have won air flight and one card. Please ping me your address and your details to info@monstermagic.co.uk. And yeah, well done. Next up, it is Divide by Richard Griffin. I really liked this just from watching the trailer. The idea is that you have a card selected and signed. You put it back on the deck and you show that you have this mysterious frame that you stick onto the back of their card. You can then divide the card into 6 pieces, push it back together, flip it over to show that it is genuinely their card, and give them their card back. I think this is one of those nice little interlude tricks. The great thing about it is that you can use it with any card. The card can be signed and then it can be handed back to the spectator. So that means that if you've just done an ambitious card routine, or a card, you know, has been signed already, when you take it back, you can do this nice and quickly just as a little bonus, or you can do it right at the start before you do anything, hand it off, and then you can carry on and do all of your card tricks with that card. So it's just this little extra thing to throw in that is something that they're not expecting. You can make it into a bigger deal with your presentation, of course. Richard doesn't seem to do that. There's not much of a presentation, not much of a hook given. You can always talk about a magician sawing a woman in half and things like that. The other great thing is that it is virtually self-working. The clever gimmick, or gimmicks, I suppose, do absolutely everything for you. All you've got to do is just perform the trick. Just stick the frame onto their playing card, and you're good to go. The other thing is, it is incredibly easy to do. The gimmicks do absolutely everything for you, really. Richard does run through some tips and some handling tips and so on of how to make it look as good as possible. They're important and they are really well taught, but the gimmicks are doing 99%. Once again, very clever. This is the frames, actually. So you actually get 2 of these frames that you stick on the card. I'm not going to show you the other part that you get because I don't want to give it away too much. And the thing about this is, when you get these, they're actually stuck to this card to keep them nice and safe. I found them the first time you peel them off the card, just the first time really, they are pretty well stuck down, and you want to be careful because they are literally just a bit of strong paper, and I don't think you're ever going to rip it, but you might fold it or crease it, and you don't want to do that. You need to look after this, which is pretty much what most of the tutorial is about, is keeping this straight, in good condition, and not getting dirty. In fact, Richard goes on so much about it getting dirty that I wonder whether he needs to get a cleaner. But there you go. So they are quite flimsy, and that is why he suggests, and I agree with him, is you stick this onto the outside of your card box to carry it around. That is the other great thing. The gimmick can just sit in the deck or in the card box, and you can bring it out or add it to the deck whenever you like, and then you just have this on the box itself on the outside. You can peel it off, stick it onto their signed card, so it's almost pretty ad hoc. And actually the nature of the gimmick means it is very natural to either leave it in the box or actually bring it out with the rest of the cards, so you're free to just have it there ready to go at any time. And the only real bit of skill, I guess, is probably putting this onto the playing card in roughly the right spot and roughly straight. But of course the back design does help you get it in the right place. And the rest is just pure acting. And the reset, again, is nothing. You just put it all away. The tutorial is 20 minutes long, including a full uncut performance, and really it leaves no stone unturned with how to do this very simple, but I think really nice and quite clever illusion of dividing a card. It's a nice, quirky, fun bit of magic to do at the beginning or end of any card trick where the card's been selected. That is Divide by Richard Griffin, $29.99. And next up, it is Celestial Bell by TCC Magic. This is a utility prop. Basically, it is a bell that can ring throughout your trick, your effect, or your set, and yet at the end you can show that it can't ring because there is no clapper inside. It is a utility device. Obviously, you can use it with any magic routine just to create that beautiful moment of magic. And also it's nice, it's audible, people aren't expecting anything. When that clapper disappears and you can show that it doesn't ring, that is a nice little strong conclusion, especially if you've been talking about the bell performing the magic and whatever. And also it is examinable. I say that because when I got mine and I opened it up, I thought, oh, I've got to do all of that setup nonsense because the clapper's not actually in it. And it was. So it's absolutely brilliantly made. Let me show you what you get. It comes in this wonderful, wonderful coloured box. I think it's really nice that TCC have disappeared from, or deviated rather, from their plain black. You get the nice little bag to keep your bell in. You get some spares as well, and then you get the bell. And I think this bell just looks great. Nice solid wood, nice brass bell. It is quality. I think even TCC have excelled themselves with this, and it makes a good loud noise. And you can even hand this to your participants. They can make it ring, and then when you get it back you can say that it doesn't ring and actually there is no clapper inside. And I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? How good is that? It's absolutely amazing. And when I looked in here and I knew I'd already watched the tutorial, I was fooled. I was absolutely fooled. It's amazingly well made. You also get some spare bits and bobs should you need to. I find it very unlikely that you will. It seems bulletproof to me. The one I've got here has come absolutely perfect, but they do show you in the tutorial a little bit of the maintenance, but also how to adjust it, you know, to what you prefer, and also it just makes it how hard it is to reset. And obviously the harder it is to reset, the more examinable it is, but it's pretty examinable regardless. What is missing from the short tutorial is ideas to do with it. There is one idea about the transference of the sound of one bell to another object, which is great, but other than that, nothing's given. They do give you a link to another trick that they make, their other bell that involves routines, but really any routine that involves transpositions, transformations, vanishes, appearances, you can do it, whether it's balls, sponge balls, coins, even cards. You can use this to add it in. It's just that little bit of extra. It just does create that moment of magic, the timing of when it happens, and it sounds quite magical. And then you can just say, but it's all been an illusion at the end and there is no magic, and show that the bell doesn't do it, or actually just have it, give it to your participants so that they are doing the magic, as it were. I think I'd put the bell in their hands as much as possible, have them ring the bell throughout so that they know that you're not doing anything funny with it, and then at the end you can have the clapper vanish. How the clapper vanishes, there are 3 different handlings given. They're all very subtle. One thing is that when you do first get it, it can be a little noisy. And I haven't adjusted mine yet, but not adjusted, but you can do a little modification that will make it completely silent. And I think that is well worth doing. It'll only take a couple of minutes, and then I think you've got the perfect prop. It is perhaps a little bit of a shame that you can't bring the clapper back as part of the routine, so you can only have it ring all the way through and then vanish, but I think that's a small price to pay. It is very easy to make the clapper come back. It's just very obvious how you're doing it, so you can't do it in view of anybody. The other thing is that as much as I love it, it is very hard to justify the price. It is so well made, you can see where the money's gone. I'm just not sure. But that is the Celestial Bell by TCC 8850.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. I think it's a little shorter than normal, but come on, people. The sun is shining. Let's get out there, grab some magic, and have a lot of fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.